Well, we've all been wondering if Tony Stark could return in Secret Wars as Iron Man, but now the king of everything Marvel, Kevin Feige, has chimed in, and I have to say, it wasn't the response I thought, and if you're hoping for Tony Stark's return, you might be disappointed. Let's dive in to talk about what he said and its implications for the MCU. Now, before we do that though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we want to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are really in the know. Well, for the longest time, we've been hearing rumors swirling about the potential return for several characters in the upcoming Avengers movie, Secret Wars. One of these potentially returning characters is Tony Stark, who was brought to life by Robert Downey Jr. and pretty much single-handedly laid the foundation for the modern MCU. Now, there's also some chances we might see the likes of Chris Evans or Scarlett Johansson also return, and many people have been wondering where the studio stands on these characters. Now, there are many people that think that resurrecting Robert Downey Jr. as the Armored Avenger would be a huge mistake for Marvel Studios. Even if they brought him back as a variant, the big worry is that would tarnish that emotional send-off that closed out Endgame and brought a fitting end to the character. And interestingly enough, it turns out Kevin Feige agrees. Now, recently, Kevin Feige sat down with Vanity Fair, which I find pretty interesting after the hit piece they did on Marvel Studios a couple weeks ago. And in this interview, he dove in a little bit into the plans to potentially magically undo Tony Stark's Endgame demise. He said, "We are going to keep that moment and not touch that moment again. We all worked very hard for many years to get to that, and we would never want to magically undo it in any way." Feige seems pretty clear there, but it still leaves the open question of whether a variant could return, and we've already heard that doesn't seem very likely directly from Joe Russo, who was part of the directing team on Avengers Endgame. He said, "We've already said tearful goodbyes on the last day of shooting. Everybody had moved on emotionally. We promised him it would be the last time we made him do it. Ever. That was difficult for him to do, to come back and pick up that line. When he did come back, we were shooting on a stage directly opposite of where he auditioned for Tony Stark, so the last line as Tony Stark was literally shot a couple of hundred feet from his original audition to get the role." Now, Robert Downey Jr. made it pretty clear when he left the role he probably wasn't coming back. But these days, never say never seems to be the mantra for many of these former Marvel stars. Honestly, I think Feige has a pretty good hold on this. I don't really know that he should come back, even though many of us want him to come back. Anything that could undermine Tony Stark's sacrifice at the end of Endgame should totally be avoided. Although I would like to see the door open for variants, I understand the commitment to Robert Downey Jr. Honestly, I think the character will return after Secret Wars, but it appears right now he might not be part of the next upcoming Avengers projects, and without Robert Downey Jr. returning, you really have to ask questions on why you would have Chris Evans or Scarlett Johansson return without him included in the group. It seems like it's a package deal to me. You need all three, it's all or nothing. And without Iron Man leading up the group, it will definitely not feel like that original Avengers team, no matter how hard Marvel Studios tries to make that happen. It's going to be a long time before Secret Wars comes out, so obviously everything could change. We're going to keep a close eye on this one because I know a lot of you as fans are very invested in the character, and many people really would like to see Tony Stark return and take up the role once again. I don't totally agree, but I do see the enthusiasm, and I am wondering why people are not as worried as I am about undermining his sacrifice. Tell me what you think about that in the comments below.